Welcome. I declare this meeting of the Finance and Governance Committee opened at 10:42 a.m. I'll councillors' attendance. Members of the committee are Councillor Madsen, Councillor Jonik, Deputy Mayor, the Mayor, Councillor Harding, Councillor Antonelli and Councillor Madden. Are there any apologies? No, I think that covers everyone. Acknowledgement of country. Did you have a copy there, Councillor? Oh, yeah, I had passed it up there. Are you able to give that to Councillor Madsen, please?
Ipswich City Council respectfully acknowledges the traditional owners as custodians of the land and waters we share. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging as the keepers of the traditions, customs, cultures and stories of proud people.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest in matters on the agenda? No? Thank you. There's no business outstanding. Confirmation.
Chair, can I beg an indulgence, if I may? I'll call it business outstanding. I'd just like to thank you, Chair, for chairing the budget meeting last month. I had COVID, so I was out of action. So I appreciate the fact that I gave you a call and you stood up straight away. And I really appreciate the fact that I know you rang all the councillors. You're very consultative, working with the organisation. So I just want to thank you, Mr. City Treasurer, for leading the budget meeting last month.
Thank you. That's the nicest thing you've, said to me for a little while. Today.
I've said nice things about you before.
No, I'm not putting it down. No,
thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
And thank you too. And of course, just for completeness, Councillor Jonik was away at the time and as Deputy, it's very difficult to chair that online, as people know. Confirmation of the minutes of the Finance and Governance Committee 202401 of the 11th of June 2024. I will move that. Is there a seconder? Councillor Antonelli. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? That's carried. Officers' reports. Item 2, adoption of artificial intelligence policy. Are there any questions to the relevant officer? Councillor Antonelli, well, we will ask the relevant officer to come forward, please. Thank you. If you could just state your name and position, please.
Yes, good morning. My name is Shasha Inbritson and I'm the Corporate Governance Manager.
Councillor Antonelli.
Yes, thank you. Sasha, I must admit I did give you a bit of notice of some of these questions, so at least I'm not putting you on the spot, but AI is a very interesting matter, but also quite confusing at times. So to the extent of how this will apply, because anyone in the organisation can use AI to write reports and the like. Does it go right down to that level, or is it just with respect to our public interface?
Well, the framework is supposed to cover the broader picture, like you just mentioned. The policy is setting out our policy position on the use of AI, which is covering the use of, complying with the AI ethics principles, how we'll use more AI broadly, people's right to challenge AI. Again, just to emphasise, this doesn't necessarily say we are going down a AI path in terms of developing our own AI, but as you've mentioned, it's moving fast and now a lot of products or inbuilt products come with AI functionality. So it's important that we set up a framework now and that we have the ability to give guidance to staff on how AI tools should be used in accordance with the relevant principles that are in the policy. And those procedures that will sit under the policy will address the responsibilities around AI. Some of that will reside with the ICT team and some of that will reside with us, but there will be guidance to staff in relation to that. And in terms of our public interface, the register that's referred to in the AI policy will be outlining any AI tools that are utilised in regards to the public. For example, chatbots or things like that that have a direct interface. It's not necessarily tools that the internal staff use for their day-to-day tasks.
So the register is not for individual officers or councillors to put down every time they've used AI.
No,
It's just highlighting the tools that are in existence within council.
It's a very high level. It's for transparency. So it's
Right.
to make the community aware of saying, if council decides to use AI and we decide to adopt a particular tool or functionality, that will be identified on the register. So it's transparent that we may use a chatbot to engage with you in these types of situations on these types of questions. And then it will give them the option to say, obviously, if you've got concerns about this, you can get in touch with council and do that. So yeah, it's one of the principles is the AI ethics principles is transparency around use, and that's the intent of the register.
And my final question relates to that grey area of intellectual property, where particularly when we're producing our own documents like publications and the like, where our staff might actually use, I'm not sure whether they are or not, but if they were to in the future, use AI to help put together such a document, where the IP would rest. Does it rest with the particular AI product they've used, or does it rest with us? It's quite grey, it's quite a confusing area.
Yeah, and look, it can be quite a technical question, and you would need to look at that as part of the AI due diligence when you put in these types of tools. It would have to be looking at, issues regarding copyright, issues regarding information management, a whole range of things in terms of that. And I suppose for us, it's also again, it has that very strong link to one of the other projects we're doing, which is the information management program, because, you have to have very strong data yourselves for AI to be effective and safe in that regard.
Very good. Thank you. I'm satisfied.
Madden. Yeah, well, it's all right. I'm used to it now. Tasha, I think it's very important that when we introduce any policies that it's consistent with state and federal legislation. And I noticed in your report it says that the recommendations are consistent with the Local Government Act, the Local Government Regulation, the Human Rights Act and the Information Privacy Act. My question to you is that are these acts and regulations being kept up to date with regard to the issue of artificial intelligence? Do they have specific provisions dealing with artificial intelligence?
Well, the AI framework is developed off the federal government's AI framework in terms of the ethics principles. That is a document that the federal government department released in terms of broadly stating these are the ethics principles that should be applied by agencies when using that. Obviously, it's moving fairly fast in terms of the regulation, in terms of what the state government has in terms of its documentation. And we are keeping abreast of those various policies and procedures and documentation. But in regards to that specific legislation, I suppose it's the interconnected aspects of AI with these laws that's important. For example, when you're using AI, you have to consider human rights in terms of privacy and aspects of the connection there. And the same with information privacy. While these acts don't specifically refer to AI, they broadly regulate the use of information and making sure that the actions that we take are consistent with human rights if we decided to implement AI tools.
So am I right in sort of assuming from what you just said that the federal government are making recommendations rather than legislative changes at the present time?
Yeah, they are looking at that. I mean, and Angela, our Chief Information Officer, may be able to speak a bit more to regards to particulars, like there's then the connections to the cybersecurity information and the like, and you say, but at the moment it's a very evolving thing and it's happening overseas as well. So the recommendations and guidelines are constantly changing. There's no specific, as far as I'm aware, legislation that requires any sort of requirements. At the most based, because it's so flexible and needs to be flexible, they're relying on ethics principles to ensure the safe use, because it's too hard to legislate on every aspect of the use of
And
AI.
I'm sure the legislation is very broad and covering things like copyright and, you know, trademarks and all that
Yeah,
sort of thing.
exactly.
So it's just so broad, but thanks for that. Those are my
Yeah.
questions.
I'll move that this report be received and adopted. Is there a seconder? Councillor Antonelli. Councillor, discussion. Is there any discussion? The Mayor?
Thank you. Look, I'm pleased to see council bring forward a policy. I do note that in consultation it says that councillors were consulted. I don't have a recollection. I've been going through my records to see where I was consulted on this policy, but I can't seem to see it. But look, I am pleased to see that council's bringing forward this policy. I do know that it's a matter that the Audit and Risk Management Committee have been looking at for quite some time. So I guess I'm keen to know what their views are of it as well. But very important that we maintain our reputation as a trustworthy organisation. It's something that we have fought very hard for over the years, and so this is an integral part to that. Our community has grown used to and expect transparency and accountability, and we should disclose when we are using AI, and people should know if an AI system is engaging with them. Council will publish a register of its AI systems that will have the potential to impact a person, a community, group or environment, and people will have the ability to challenge the use of the AI system. So I think this policy considers a range of legal and ethical and operational issues and risks, and I guess it's the start, and I commend the organisation for doing it.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Yes,
Councillor Antonelli.
Yes, through the chair. Look, AI is going to form part of daily operations in just about every organisation, workforce, and even in public space. So, yeah, it's good that we're taking a lead out there and establishing this policy. Also, particularly with reference to the products that we are using being listed on that register, I think is vitally important for that transparency. So thank you, Chair.
Any further discussion? CEO.
Chair, would it be helpful if I just clarify for the committee that the consultation was a written consultation? It was via an email from me on the 31st of May 2024, inviting consultation by the feedback by the 14th of June 2024. I did receive some feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, CEO.
Any other questions or comments? I'll just conclude by saying this is a moving feast in a way. It's early days yet. I can see amendments to a policy of this nature and a continuation of council's necessary involvement in these issues. The issues that have been raised are absolutely critical to an organisation of our nature, and thanks very much for the report, and I think it's something that will be on the agenda for probably many years to come as the issues that arise from this, which are many. If one looks at the internet at the moment, there are many issues arising, even in the judicial system. So with that, I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. Item 3, an update on the iVolve business case. Where's Matt Smith? Thank you. Are there questions for Matt at all? Sorry, I should have just asked that first of all. Are there any questions? Comments? All right. Well, I'll move the motion. I'll move the motion as printed. Is there a seconder? Councillor Jonik. Discussion? Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? That's carried. Item 4, Urban Utilities Statement of Strategic Intent and Participations Returns Policy and Participation Agreement. Are there any questions for the relevant officer? No questions. I'll move that motion as printed to approve the amendments in paragraphs A, B and C. Is there a seconder? Councillor Antonelli, discussion?
If I
Mayor?
may, in my printed one, I think there's no D. I think that just the letter D is missing. If I could be the grammar person. Grammar, please, thank you.
Okay, so subject to that typo. Is there any other comments or discussion? I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. Item 5 is procurement cloud library resources. Are there any questions for the relevant officer? No? I'll move that motion. Is there a seconder? Councillor Madden. Discussion? I'll put that motion. All in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. Item 6. Procurement, increase in contract value, Microsoft EA licensing. Are there any questions for the relevant officer? I'll move that motion. Is there a seconder? Seconded, Mayor Harding. Discussion? I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. Thank you, Councillor Johnnick. Item 7, procurement, Argus online creator and mobile worker software licensing maintenance. Are there any questions for the relevant officer? There are from the Mayor. Could the relevant officer come forward, please?
Not on the procurement, but actually on the software itself, the app, how it's working.
That's right. Relevant officer? Thank you. If you could just state your name and position, please.
Morning. Alvin Valley, Asset Manager.
Mayor.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. So this is obviously looking at the online creator and the mobile worker software, not ArcGIS Esri itself.
No, Mayor. So it's actually supplied by ArcGIS Esri itself. So at the moment, we do have existing licenses for the online platform for Esri, and this has been, I suppose, implemented over the years. At the moment, this is a separate project to our enterprise Esri GIS project. This particular item is just to bridge the gap from, I suppose, August 2024 the license expiring, and we are projecting the current implementation to be completed in around June 2025. So it's the same products. It's producing all of our planning scheme layers, both internally to our staff and also to the public.
Okay. And obviously, how was the transition gone? Because obviously, was this done on the previous spatial system, the bespoke one, or is this a new functionality?
This is a parallel system, Mayor, but effectively this is the new system that we will be adopting in the future. At the moment, we're still operating in INO, so that's the old spatial system that everyone utilizes. However, for the planning scheme product, they've actually utilized some of the Esri licenses already in the past. And the reason for that is because it's just very user-friendly. And it was an opportunity for council as well to get our experience in that space, understanding that we were going to move to the Esri platform anyway.
Can you explain how this is actually used by council officers? It talks about mobile worker software, so does that mean the council can see where the trucks are or people are? How does that work?
So at the moment, Mayor, the mobile component of it, it's not necessarily used out in the field by our fleet officers or trucks. So essentially, we do have about 5 licenses for mobile. That's actually used to pick up some defects in the field, particularly for the assets, infrastructure asset space. Again, the purpose of that was to get a pool of people within that technical space to get up to speed with the software and to understand how we can potentially implement that in a broader sense into the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? No. Thank you very much.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I'll move that motion be adopted. Is there a seconder? Councillor Madsen? Sorry. Well, one day we'll
Chair, I'd like you to be reminded that I'm the one with the beard.
No, we used to have name plaques that were on both sides. So,
Yes.
Chair, would this assist you?
yeah, only 50%. Only 50%. Thanks.
Be worried if it's yours.
Any discussion? The Mayor?
If I may, probably, Chair, probably to the CEO, the report itself goes into why the procurement's coming through. It actually doesn't go much into the functionality of the software. It'd be nice if we just had a little bit about the functionality and how we're using it, because obviously we wouldn't use all the functionality. I'd find that helpful coming to the ordinary council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair, we can do that in future. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. Moving on to item 8, Procurement Culture AMP Employee Experience Survey Platform. Any questions for the relevant officer? Now I'll move that motion. Seconder, Councillor Madsen. Discussion.
Just to support this, obviously it's an important part of any organisation to check in with the staff and as part of our continual improvement process. I'll be supporting this.
Any further discussion? I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? Councillor Johnnick, all in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. Councillor, item 9, procurement extension and increase in spend on commercial cleaning contract 13902. Are there any questions for the relevant officer? Councillor Johnnick, you have questions.
I have a question.
Here. Could the relevant officer come forward, please? State your name and title of position, please.
No worries. Good morning, Chair, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Councillors. Matt Smith, General Manager, Corporate Services.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mr.
Councillor Johnnick.
Through the chair, thank you, Mr. Smith. It's just in relation, obviously, to the increase in the contract value and how we have done our due diligence in relation to that increase.
Yeah, I guess always a bit of a challenge for us, Deputy Mayor, on contracts such as this, we've got an existing provider. I guess there's two components to the increase in this. Part of it is an increase in scope. So with additional assets, we've included into the cleaning contract. The other piece is related to a general increase in rate related to higher than forecast CPI that we would have anticipated when the original contract was implemented. I guess in terms of due diligence, we haven't gone back to the market, but given our level of comfort with the provider and the services they're providing, we felt that was a reasonable increase, balancing it off with the additional scope that's included in the work they'll be performing for us.
Yeah, just thank you. There is additional scope in the contract as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions? Councillor Madden.
Matt, I just wanted to clarify that this contract, does this cover the Rosewood Library as well?
That is a very good question,
Sorry.
Councillor. I might have to defer to my AIS colleagues.
Can they?
Yeah, can I take that on notice, Councillor Mann, and get back to you?
I just wanted to know, does the contract also include keeping the footpaths around the library clean? Now, it doesn't include the Rosewood Library, doesn't include, gurneying the footpath around the library. And I just wanted to confirm that this contract doesn't include general gurneying of footpaths.
I can confirm it won't include general
That's
gurney
right,
of
that's
footpaths, but I will get back to you on the questions around
Thanks
the
very
Rosewood
much.
Library.
Thanks, Matt.
No worries.
Any further questions to the officer? Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
I'll move that motion. Is there a seconder? The Mayor. Discussion? No discussion. I'll put that motion. All in favour? Against? Carried. Item 10.
Excuse me, Chair.
Sorry.
I would like to abstain from that one, please.
Sorry. Just for clarification, I'll put the motion because I had declared it carried unanimously. Just put all in favour.
So this is item 9?
Yes, this is still item 9. Yes, all in favour. Against? Abstain? Councillor Johnnick. So that's carried with all councillors here with the exception of Councillor Johnnick who has abstained. Thank you. Item 10, the proposal to acquire property located at 2B Thompson Street, Bundamba for drainage purpose. Is there any questions for the relevant officer? Thank you. I'll move that motion. Is there a seconder? Councillor Madden. Discussion? I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? That's carried unanimously. Item 11, amending subordinate local law off-street regulated parking, 134 Parkland Drive, Springfield Central. I just have a brief question to the relevant officer, if they could come forward, please. Thank you. If you could just state your name and title, please.
Alicia Connaughton, Manager Compliance.
We've touched on this before. It's a date of effect of the decision. I think today the interim local law expires. Is that correct?
Not today. I think it's the way it's set up to work, it's the 25th of July. So the new law would take effect on the 26th of July, which I believe is a Friday. So the interim local law expires and then the new law takes effect on the 26th because it takes effect on the date that it's published.
Right.
So we're planning to publish it on the 26th.
If approved by the
If approved.
committee.
Yeah, no, I was thinking of the council meeting. So there'll be no hiatus there. It'll just move straight into an amendment to the subordinate local law.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
So I guess in preempting a positive resolution, everything is in place for that to occur.
Certainly. Are there any other questions at all? No, thank you. I'll move that motion. Is there a seconder? Councillor Johnnick. Discussion? The Mayor?
If I may, I just want to thank the organisation for the consultation that they did. I know there's a series of dot points that was done, but apart from the council media release, there was quite a few newspapers that sort of carried it. I do note that there were 111 unique visitors to the Shape Ipswich page. Only 3 submissions were made, and they were all positive. So I commend both yourself and Councillor Johnnick for bringing forward this. So obviously, it was much needed by the community.
Any further discussion? Councillor Johnnick?
Thanks, Mayor, through you, Chair. I guess it only impacts a small number of residents in the area, but the feedback was really positive, and making that parking more equitable for those in need is what this amendment does. So, thank you.
Any other discussion? I'll just close the debate by thanking people for their comments. Yes, it has been a difficult situation because there is very limited parking adjacent to the YMCA at Springfield Central, and this does bring in a fair measure of equitable use of those limited car parking spaces, particularly near the parkland there and the adjoining high school. So I'll put that motion. All in favour? Against? That's carried. Are there any notices of motion? I don't think there's any other late items, are there? Are there any other items?
We have item 12.
Okay.
Swifts.
Oh, yeah, that should be, yeah, that's one. I'm using an earlier document. So that's item 12, Swifts Leagues Club, Cameron Park. Are there questions for the relevant officers? Yes, from the Mayor?
I will, but I'll probably ask these that are commercial in confidence.
Yes.
So I don't have the piece of paper. I apologise, Chair.
No.
That talks about going into closed session.
That's fine. I'll ask the relevant officer to come forward, and then I'll, before we ask any questions, I'll move the relevant motion. No, I haven't moved it yet. Sorry. Yeah, we all have to get used to this. Councillor Antonelli, yeah. Name and position, please.
Chair, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Councillors, Matt Smith, General Manager, Corporate Services.
I move that in accordance with section 254J3, that the local government, G, be closed for negotiations relating to a commercial matter involving the local government for which a public discussion would be likely to prejudice the interests of the local government. I've moved that. Is there a seconder? That's moved by Councillor Madden. I'll put that, any discussion on that? I'll put that motion. All in favour? Against? That's carried. Okay, it's now a closed session. Yeah. We're live again, folks, councillors. Item 12, the Swifts Leagues Club, Cameron Park. There are 4 recommendations. Do I have a mover? Councillor Antonelli, seconder. Councillor Jonick. Discussion? I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against? All in. So I'll call it again. All in favour? Against? There's no abstention, so I'll declare that motion carried. Notices of motion are none. Matters arising, there are none. We need to, if we don't need a motion, that we automatically, I believe, the next meeting will be in 10 minutes' time. So unless people want a longer break, I'll close the meeting at 11:30 a.m. Thank you all.